Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli back with another review video, and of course, continuing on reviewing Halloweenish films, as you all know. That's right. I'm of course reviewing, in which this movie, it's celebrating its anniversary as well. That being from 1982, Poltergeist. Yes, Poltergeist. As I record this, I finally watched it for the first time. Actually, I never saw it until tonight, and oh my gosh, let me tell you. In fact, I even said this to my dad. What a heck of a movie this was, and it is like it's so intense, but more into that later. Okay, but the story. A family's home is haunted by a host of demonic ghosts. Yeah. And it was written by, written by Steven Spielberg, and, he didn't direct this. Tobe Hooper directed this. And even, say, Frank Marshall, Kathleen Kennedy, they were producers. And I remember because, even ILM, Industrial Lights and Magic, they did the special effects, as we all know, for this movie. Pretty good, actually. Some of the good stuff of ILM's effects, comes in, very later on in the movies, I recall, the ghosts and what happens to the house, you name it. But, basically, because, with the cast, an ordinary family, just basically living in a neighborhood, and, the way that the movie opens, I was wondering, as the rest of the movie continued, wait a minute, was this showing what was going to happen later on in the film, or something? I don't know. But no, I was wrong, because, everybody in bed, and it's nighttime, and at one point, because Carol Ann Fringley. So they're the Fringling family, and Carol Ann, played by the late, cute little Heather O'Rourke, and she is talking to the TV, hello, are you there? And she wakes her whole entire family up, and, she's right there at the TV and with her dad. The dad, of course, being played by Steve Freely, played by Craig T. Nelson, a.k.a. the voice of Mr. Incredible. And, of course, Carol Ann says the most famous line from the movie, "They're here." Yeah, and thus that's where the movie continues, and it starts, and, just as we see, normal people living together, even say Steve and a bunch of his guy friends, they're watching football, and what the kids are doing, etc. And the rest of the family, Diane Freeling, played by Jo Beth Williams. Then there's Robbie Freeling, played by a young Oliver Robbins. And then there's Dana Freeling, played by also the late, beautiful, talented actress, Dominic Dunn. Dune, if I'm saying that right, I do apologize, But, yeah, Dominic. So, and actually, because, this was the first and last, big, full-time, feature film for Dominic. So, as we all know, she would sadly die, a little bit later in the year after this movie came out. And she had done many, TV projects, and even say after this. So, anyways, basically at one point in the movie, well, because their house starts being haunted, and even Robbie terrified of this tree right out of him and his little sister's bedroom window, and the tree comes to life and starts grabbing Robbie, but then the closet in their bedroom something happens as well, and Carol Ann is sucked into the closet, and all pardon my French, but it's true, all hell breaks loose, and Carol Ann is gone, she's nowhere to be found, and then paranormal investigators come in, there's Dr. Lesh, played by Beatrice Straight, and then let me see. I think okay, yeah. And then there's Ryan, played by Richard Lawson, and who is the other guy? I think it might have been this guy too. Marty, played by Martin Casella. So like they come in and like try to help out on this whole ghost thing, and they start seeing everything that happens in the house too. There are some emotional stuff to it as well, especially like say when the mother is contacting and speaking to Carol Ann, and it's just man, it's when cutting to Dana, I'm telling you, Dominic, like it really shows in this movie that Dominic can really nail at how just being emotional and acting, it's really a shame that, this was her only big star role. You know what I mean? Just, yeah. Yeah, I'd even like say, yeah, Diane and Steve trying to contact Carol Ann and, telling her to stay away from the light and so on. And even say when very later on in the movie, Tagina, I think I said that right, played by Zelda Rubinstein. I feel as though that her voice, because she's got this like high pitched voice, almost like a kid voice, and to think that she's an old lady in this, how old the actress is, and her voice, I'm telling you, if you've seen Poltergeist, you know what I'm talking about. I was saying to myself when watching the movie, I feel like I've heard her voice before. Clearly she would have done something like voice acting or whatever. I can't remember. And she basically can sense what's going on and telling the mother and father what to do. Even say, well, a little bit earlier, Robbie and Dana, they had to leave the house. Dana was staying at a friend's house, or whatever. Robbie, where did Robbie go? To his aunt's, I want to say. Well, did I forget to mention their dog as well? The dog tagged along with Robbie as well. Yeah, I almost forgot to mention the family dog. Even say moments with the dog where the dog can sense the presence of ghosts and so on. Oh yeah, even say when Diane felt the presence of Carol Ann going through her, and technically Carol Ann is not dead. Because remember, she was pulled into the TV, so she's in another realm or something, and well with the ghosts, they're holding her hostage or whatever, and she's just roaming around. Eventually, because this is where things really do get intense in the third act, where, Diane she willingly goes in there to get her daughter back, and you know what? Even when she's attached to a rope tied around her waist, and Steve trying to hold on, and he comes face to face with a giant ghostly skull, and he screams, and oh my gosh, intense. You could feel it, just, oh man. But then of course eventually, Diane and along with Carol Ann, they escape, they're out of there, and things seem to turn out okay. The aftermath of that, well, they are selling the house and planning to move. We see that the whole family's reunited once again, and on that night, well, you think things got better, but even I think we all knew no, that wasn't the case. And that's when I think the ghosts, they just go on a rampage. They scare the living daylights out of the Freely family, and even say where the pool was when Diane falls into the muddy spot of where the pool's supposed to be. A bunch of skulls, skeletons and coffins rise, and if I recall, I think it was, who was that guy again? Oh, Mr. Teague, I'm pretty sure. I think, like, there was a bit of talk between, like, say, Steve and, yeah, Mr. Teak. It's this guy, yeah. Um, basically, uh, Steve discovered that Mr. Teague was lying about because they were talking about something of like graves and so on, and like I guess they weren't in the same, like they weren't like right there at the house, but they were, liar, liar, as Steve is shouting at Mr. Teague. So, and then like they all, like, of course, like Diane and the kids, they get out of there, and well, even like say there was this toy clown that Robbie had and was scared, was suspicious about that toy clown, and I was thinking, okay, something's gonna happen. He looks under the bed on the left and the right side, but then the toy clown grabs him by the neck and such, and then of course Robbie like destroys the clown, and like, well, they're like almost about to be sucked back into the closet, but of course the mother saving them, even when Dana like arrives, being dropped off by a bunch of her friends, and everybody is seeing what's happening outside of the house. Something's going on with the house, and I just love that close up of Dana just, what's happening? Oh man, that's so good. And then of course eventually the whole Freely family, they escape, and I think Mr. Teague just in complete shock. I think maybe he regrets what he's done, pretty much, and basically an amazing shot by ILM. The house gets destroyed, gets like pulled into the ground, and so on, and even like say fire hydrants like shooting out, water rising. Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, and I'm sure for the audience, like us, us audience wonder, is part of that neighborhood possessed? I don't know. But eventually the epilogue, well, they leave the neighborhood and they're staying at this motel, and yeah, and that's when after they all get into the motel room they're staying in, like, one last thing we see, Steve like pulls the TV out of the room. So yeah, no TV for them anymore. So, and that's how the movie ends. So, man, I tell you, Poltergeist, what a great film this was. A great, like, scary, intense, and perfect film to watch during Halloween. Definitely. And from, of course, the one and only god of movies, Steven Spielberg, because, not only is he directed, but he can also be a writer. So, yeah. And sometimes he can write and direct movies. And did I forget to mention the music by the one and only legendary composer, Jerry Goldsmith. I mean, come on, Jerry Goldsmith, he's right there next to John Williams, Danny Elfman, his music never disappoints, and his score in this, just amazing, definitely. And again, as I said, the visual effects by ILM are really good too, and I definitely give this a 10 out of 10. And what about you guys? What did you think of Poltergeist? What did you think of my review? Like, was this intense for you too? Like, you were just like, oh my gosh, like, everybody just screaming and just scared of what's going on with the ghosts, yeah. And even, like, say, one ghost that Diane comes face to face with, like, yeah, I don't know how to, like, it makes you wonder, like, what ghost is that? What ghost is that? Like, he's kind of like this, and he's got the MGM, the MGM roar, yeah, because this being an MGM film, but also Warner Brothers as well. But the ghost has the same roar like the MGM lion, so it's true. But anyways, so with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed my review of Poltergeist. Again, 10 out of 10, and more reviews on the way, of course, and during the month of October, reviewing Halloweenish films. They're gonna be awesome. Keep looking forward, And I'll see you guys in the next video/review. And once again, happy anniversary to Poltergeist. Take care, and peace out.